last episode we made not one but two new signings in the January transfer window, but some up and down results in the Premier League means our fight for domestic glory may well go down to the wire. But as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, speaking of those two new signings, unfortunately neither of them have hit the ground running. Xavi Simons was brought in to be top tier competition to this man Oyhan Sunset, but so far with 10 games played, he's only got 2 goals to his name and no assists, and overall a 5.75 rating in just 2 Premier League appearances. And as for Ibrahima Konate, he was brought in to become a long-term partner to this man Fikayo Tomori, but so far, just like Xavi Simons, he hasn't exactly lit up Stamford Bridge, only appearing 3 times in the Premier League, and he's still tussling for a spot in our back line with the likes of Badiashile, Fofana and also Disasi as well. And after an unfortunate kick in the teeth by our arch-rivals Arsenal, those poor performances have compounded and we've dropped down to second place in the league, now 4 points off Manchester United, and with the board expecting nothing less than domestic success in both the FA Cup and the Premier League, and having spent almost the entirety of my budget so far this season, the pressure is really starting to mount on my shoulders. But after getting back on track with an away 3-1 win against Wolves with the likes of Madueke and Xavi Simons getting on the score sheet twice, and getting another 3 points on the board courtesy of a late winner from Christopher Nkunku as we beat Brighton 2-1, and after smashing Leicester City 4-1 away from home, with Xavi Simons getting on the score sheet for the 3rd time in as many games, within a blink of an eye we have leapfrogged Manchester United back up into top spot, and now we lead them by 2 points. What a way to turn around our momentum at the start of this episode. And with me bemoaning the performances of this man at the very beginning, he's now notched up 3 goals in as many games in the Premier League, and all of a sudden his overall rating has shot up to 7.57. Perhaps he is now the man who is going to realistically provide some stiff competition for the Spaniard Oyhan Sunset for the remainder of the season. However, with things going rather rosy in the Premier League, it is time now to turn our attention to the Champions League. And after managing to secure top spot in our group stage, having gone unbeaten, winning 5 and drawing 1, collecting 16 points along the way, we have been drawn against Fiorentina in the round of 16, in a tie that we should certainly be considered favourites for. And with me incredibly happy with what I'm seeing from the team, and still confident that we can continue to get the best out of the boys, it is time to head on over to Italy to try and face off against the Italian giants and hopefully secure what will be a much needed win to hopefully put us in a decent position to progress to the next round. A huge game demands a return to my strongest starting 11, and that means Diogo Costa retains his place in goal, Reece James, Tomori, Konate and Chilwell at the back. Caicedo, of course, is partnered by Enzo Fernandez in midfield, with Diaby, Oyhan Sunset and Sancho playing in behind Christopher Nkunku up front. So here we go then, this is when the hard work begins. We absolutely sailed through the group stage, but now it is when things are going to get really tough. We can make no mistakes here today, and we have to make sure that we put ourselves in a good position to try and get through. Konate, oh, that's a really poor pass from Konate on his Champions League debut here for Chelsea. Caicedo, though, my box-to-box midfielder who's done everything right so far this season, was on hand again to win the ball, and now Ben Chilwell will try and feed this into Christopher Nkunku. He takes it and gives it back to Ben Chilwell, who manages to keep the ball in play, cuts it back into the path of Jadon Sancho. He finds Oyhan Sunset, who tries to strike. Good block in the end from the defender. Into Reece James, into Enzo Fernandez. Nice touch and turn. He finds Caicedo, who also turns really nicely and feeds a ball into Jadon Sancho, who's come central. Ends up losing it, just gets crowded out, and now Fiorentina can try and hit us on the break here. Emil Smith-Rowe, the former Arsenal man, oh how desperate he will be to put in a good performance against his arch-rivals in London, Chelsea. Now Dallo, the former Manchester United man, picks it up. He finds Barak. It's Konate now. He makes amends from his earlier mistake, wins the ball, tries to play it into Sunset, who tried to lift it over to Christopher Nkunku. It's end-to-end stuff here though in Italy, as now Tomori will bring this one out of defence. Neither team able to break the deadlock so far in the opening 30 minutes. Beltran, lovely pass into Saul, and it's Tomori again who comes across. He's had a sterling start to this first half. He's done really well, and he's been an absolute rock at the back for us as Caicedo now tries to bring this one out of midfield. It's a really poor pass, and that has pretty much been the story of this half so far for Chelsea. Konate tries to come across, doesn't put a challenge in. Beltran now in the box. Can Fiorentina carve out the first real opportunity of the game? Tomori comes across again. Brilliant, brilliant defending from the Chelsea Academy graduate. And now Jadon Sancho to try and feed the ball forward. It's a really poor ball, and it's easy for the Fiorentina defenders to sweep up. Kone Oh, lovely stuff to try and get away from Ben Chilwell. Burst into the box here. Ben Chilwell frantically trying to get back. It's Alex Garcia now. He's being held up here by Tomori. And in the end, it was Barak who came across to score for Fiorentina. And it's been a woeful first half from us here. And deservedly, Fiorentina lead. Well, we just seem to fall asleep at the back. A half-arsed challenge from Ben Chilwell. And in the end, it was just a lovely little reverse pass into the edge of the 6-yard box. And with that close and that proximity to goal, he's not going to miss from there. Diogo Costa, perhaps he could have done better. I'm absolutely furious, and rightly so. It's 1-0 Fiorentina. Out wide to Reece James on the right-hand side. Look at the space he's got to run into. In the end, gives the ball away, but we do manage to get it back. Enzo Fernandez switches it onto his left, fires it from distance. Goes out for a Chelsea corner. It's a corner that Moussa Diaby will take. He's been relatively quiet so far today. All of our players have been as Oyan Sunset with a big head and even bigger save. Going to be Jadon Sancho who will take the corner on the other side here. It's been a much better start to this second half than it was in the first. It's going to come out to Caicedo, tries to hit it on the volley. Gets it all wrong. And now Fiorentina can try and break away with Dalot here. The former Manchester United right back. He ends up trying to cut it back here. Bit of momentum lost, but Emil Smith-Rowe picks it up for the Italian Giants. Into Beltran. Tomori comes across. Good challenge. Enzo Fernandez now plays it down the line to release Jadon Sancho here. And now we have a wonderful opportunity to try and counter-attack. Jadon Sancho down the left-hand side. Can he try and find a ball in? He's hacked down. And surely this will be perhaps a red. No, it will only be a yellow. For me, it should have been a lot more. Well, Sancho was through there. He'd beaten the man. Absolutely hacked down. How on earth is that a yellow? He's a very lucky man to still be on the pitch. So we've got a free kick here. Enzo Fernandez is going to be the man to take the free kick. It's not within a goal-scoring range, so I'm going to try and float it in. Looking for the header, Canate, who's just put it wide. Enzo Fernandez goes right the way over to stretch the play into the path of Ben Chilwell. And Xavi Simons, who's coming as a sub, on for Jadon Sancho with his first touch, ends up giving the ball away, and now Fiorentina can try and break here. Instead, they go back to the right back, Dalot, and that move breaks down. Beltran, nice little reverse pass into the path of their striker, but Ben Chilwell came across. They then go and give the ball away really cheaply here. Beltran for Fiorentina. They are desperately in search of a second goal here to try and put this tie and this first leg to bed. Lovely Cruyff turn in the box. Unfortunately enough, Tomori has the cool, calm head to get the ball clear. And now Sunset can try and break away here. He's got Xavi Simons ahead of him. Doesn't manage to find him. And again, another poor pass in the final third. And again, that has been the story of this game for Chelsea. Xavi Simons into Oyan Sunset. Sunset finds Moussa Diaby. Again, this man has been very quiet, but he's going to try and feed a wonderful ball all the way out wide to Xavi Simons. He tries to go inside. He's been so poor since coming on. To Ben Chilwell down the left-hand side. We are running out of time here in Italy to try and get back into this game. That is another horrendous challenge from a Fiorentina defender. Ben Chilwell was in a heap on the floor. I've got to hope that he is going to be okay, and it's not going to be a serious injury. He's not. He's getting up. But Dalot again. Another very lucky Italian only to be on a yellow card. How on earth do Fiorentina still have 11 men on the pitch? Well, Xavi Simons will take the resulting free kick. I'm going to try and see if I can fire it into the box. It's a good ball in. Looking for the head of Sunset. It's a diving header away from the Fiorentina defence. And again, with only a few minutes remaining in this game, they now will try and see if they can counter-attack. Iacone down the right-hand side. He's got the beating of Ben Chilwell. Instead cuts it back, though, and ends up giving it away to Oyan Sunset. Now Christopher Nkunku has it. He's another man who has been very quiet today. They've done a really good job of keeping our key attacking players on a leash here. But he continues his run down the right-hand side. Fires a ball in. Looking for Sanson on the volley. What a save. Comes out to Simons. And Simons on the rebound gets the goal. I've hit the X button too quickly in my excitement, and the referee blows the whistle. It is game over, my word. Those last few minutes just got to me in the end. But just like that, within a blink of an eye, we have somehow rescued this game, and we have put ourselves in a much better position heading to Stamford Bridge next leg. As at full time here in Italy, it finishes Fiorentina 1, Chelsea 1. Well, I'm sorry I didn't manage to catch the replay, but this man, Xavi Simons, will not care. A fabulous, dramatic equaliser. And after slating his arrival at the beginning of this episode, he has made me eat my words. What a turnaround this episode. Absolutely brilliant performances from him. And whilst he wasn't actually that good in the game we just played, he popped up exactly when I needed him to. And he is already proving to be a valuable asset here in West London. And after a bit of a shoddy performance, we can count our lucky stars that we've managed to level it up to 1-1. And heading back to Stamford Bridge, I am very confident we should be able to put this tie to bed. However, just when I thought things were starting to get back on track, I'm hit with a bit of disappointing news. Since the arrival of Canate, this man Wesley Fofana's nose has been put slightly out of joint, and now he's come knocking on my door, demanding to get more game time. Otherwise, he may want to consider his options. To be fair to him, judging by his performances and the amount of games played so far this season, and his overall rating now going up to 84, he hasn't exactly done too much wrong. But I did really want to bring in another defender just so I've got a little bit more cover and depth in my back line. But that is not to say that Fofana cannot try and resurrect his Chelsea career and try and force his way back into the starting 11, because so far, Konate unfortunately hasn't quite impressed. And as we head back to Stamford Bridge, as we return to Premier League football, Wesley Fofana is going to get that opportunity to try and force his way back into our starting 11 as we host the Northern Giants Newcastle in what is going to be a very exciting game here today in West London. And with some fatigue creeping into my usual starting 11 courtesy of that midweek Champions League game, I have made a few changes. Costa does retain his place in goal, as does Tamori in my back line, but the likes of Gusto, Fofana and Matson all coming in to partner him in defence. Caicedo is partnered by Baumgartner in the centre of midfield, with Moussa Diaby starting on the right, Xavi Simons in the hole behind the striker, and Sancho still on the left-hand side, as Nicholas Jackson takes his place up front in place of Christopher Nkunku, who drops to the bench. Wesley Fofana is that man who will get a touch and try and bring it out of defence. Eager to try and stake his claim back in the starting 11. It's the perfect opportunity for him to do so here, as Gusto feeds it into Nicholas Jackson, who takes it on, strikes it, big save from Nick Pope. Well, it's an electric start here at Stamford Bridge inside the opening 6 minutes, as Matson picks it up, twirls his way around the Newcastle defenders. Baumgartner strikes, what a save again. Well, my word, what a start here in Stamford Bridge. Jadon Sancho will take the resulting corner, fires it up to the head of Fofana, who did try and get his head on it, but wasn't able to meet it. And in the end, Sancho will have another opportunity to throw it back in, looking for Baumgartner at the back post, headed away again from the Newcastle defence. It's been all Chelsea here so far in the opening 10-15 minutes. Diaby fires a wicked ball all the way out to the right-hand side to Malo Gusto. He takes it down brilliantly, fires it across. It's easy in the end for Nick Pope this time. Almiron into Frenkie de Jong. And it's Gonzalo Ramos here for Newcastle. It's the first array into our half for the Geordie Giants as Trippier fires a ball across. And just like that, it's a huge head that's gone over the bar from Frenkie de Jong, now plying his trade in Newcastle, much to my disgust. We should really be 1-0 down now. Jadon Sancho with a corner, 26 minutes on the clock here, and we are back in the ascendancy. It's fired over to Fofana, who tried to win the head. Again, it's hacked away by the Newcastle defence. End-to-end stuff here at Stamford Bridge. Gusto under a bit of pressure, turns away really nicely. Really, really good stuff from the young right-back, as now Wesley Fofana, my word, he is certainly eager to try and put in an impression. He's dribbling up the pitch and finds Moussa Diaby, who can only find the hands of Nick Pope yet again. Barnes, oh, that's really poor, gives it away really cheaply to Nicholas Jackson, and now he tries to burst across here. I was trying to find the run of Xavi Simons. A brilliant, brilliant piece of defending from the Newcastle back line. Well, it's been a tricky opening 45 minutes here. We have definitely been in the ascendancy and should really be at least 1-0 up here, but we have not taken our opportunities as Caicedo gives away a cheap free kick in a dangerous area for Newcastle. It looks like it's going to be Tonali here inside the opening 5 minutes, who's going to fire a big ball into my box. Headed away though by Malo Gusto, and now Jadon Sancho can try and clear his lines. He finds Xavi Simons, and can he try and break now? He doesn't really have too many options, so he's just going to try and carry the ball instead, and instead drives it out of play. Kieran Trippier for Newcastle. Nice ball down the line into the path of Tonali. Wonderful stuff from the Englishman into the Italian, and he just goes past Ian Matson like he's not even there. Cuts it back inside. What a strike from Ramos. It's off the bar, and my word, the woodwork comes to our rescue there. Almiron here for Newcastle. They are well and truly in the ascendancy. They've got their tails up. And now they look like the more likely to score out of the two teams, as Baumgartner with a huge last-ditch challenge and last-ditch block, as Xavi Simons now tries to release Moussa Diaby. Has he got the pace to try and drive past Dan Burn stupidly on EA24? He does not. Ramos, nice pass into Tonali, who finds himself unmarked and finds himself bursting into the box. Diogo Costa with a big save. My word, how on earth is this game still 0-0? Baumgartner now, he's going to try and look to go over the top into the path of Nicholas Jackson. A wonderful ball and a good run here into the channels. He picks it up, strikes with his left. What a save. Going to be Madueke on as a substitute to take the resulting corner, and he fires it in again, looking for the header for Fofana, and this time he does get there. But Nick Pope again is on hand to block him. Well, the English goalkeeper has had an absolutely stellar performance here inside the opening 70 minutes. We are eager to try and put an end to that. And the ball is bouncing around like a pinball here into Ian Sunset. Nick Pope again. He's like a wall in front of that Newcastle goal today. Ian Matson on the left-hand side, bearing down on the Newcastle goal here, but it's good defending from the Newcastle defenders, and now they can try and worm their way out of their own half. They've done brilliantly there to get away from the Chelsea press, and now Kieran Trippier just bursts down this right-hand side past Ian Maatsen, who cannot seem to catch up with him. It's a ball in! Oh my word, Frankie de Jong. It's his second huge opportunity that he's missed. How on earth did he miss that? It was a fabulous ball across, and Frankie de Jong, he got the volley all wrong, and much to my relief and Eddie Howe's frustration, he didn't score. It's still 0-0. Caicedo to Ian Maatsen now. Got to try and see if I can find some sort of goal here as Nicholas Jackson can't get past the defence. Sven Botman, just like Nick Pope, has been all wall at the back for Newcastle. Neither of these two teams can break the deadlock here. It's Frankie de Jong though, into Almiron, back to Barnes, into Gonzalo Ramos. Surely he will go out to the left-hand side. No, he continues to hold the ball up here. Only a few minutes remaining in this game. Brilliant challenge from Tamori. Baumgartner can't get away from the challenge though. And now Tonali has it. Caicedo with a big challenge. And Newcastle have a free kick in a dangerous area. It's going to be Tonali who's going to step up to take here. It looks like he's going to try and strike. Is it going to be him? Is it going to be Trippier? One of the two are going to take it here. He dummies the shot. Trippier fires straight against the wall, and it will go out for a Newcastle corner. We've got plus 4 minutes of stoppage time here. Newcastle, out of the two teams, look like they're more likely to score. It's into the near post. Headed away there, and now Madueke will win the ball, and can he now try and burst down this right-hand side? He has the pace and the freshness now, surely, to get away from the Newcastle defenders. Look at the pace, look at the tenacity, into the box, cuts it back. Sven Botman again. That man was an absolute wall for 95 minutes. What a game, and what a way to end it. I have my arms crossed in disbelief. The Chelsea players are in utter disbelief. How on earth did neither of these two teams score come the end of the game? Full time here at Stamford Bridge. Somehow it finishes Chelsea 0, Newcastle 0. Well, it certainly was a goalless stalemate, and it certainly was the result of one man in particular, that man Nick Pope. Absolutely sensational from start to finish. But surely some of my players will be left wondering how on earth we didn't score at least one goal. And it's even more frustrating as while we have still maintained our place in top spot, United still second, but they do have a game in hand on us, and they are now only 3 points behind us. If they win it, they will go level and more than likely go above us in the table again. However, whilst I mention the importance of the Premier League to the board, the FA Cup is just as important, and they are expecting us to win the famous English competition this season. And with that in mind, it's time for us to switch gears and turn our attention to that very competition, with Ipswich being the lucky team we've drawn in the 5th round. Unfortunately for them though, it wasn't too lucky, as we have managed to secure a comprehensive 3-1 win that will see us progress to the 6th round. And it's nice to see that we carried that momentum back into the Premier League, as despite a hard-fought game away at Burnley at Turf Moor, we have managed to scrape out a 3-2 victory that sees us secure another 3 points and has seen us remain at the top of the Premier League. But as you can see, there's been no changes with the teams behind us. United still only 3 points behind and still have a game in hand. However, with our arch rivals from the east of London in West Ham very keen to spoil the party here at Stamford Bridge, we welcome them in front of our home fans as we now return to the Premier League with an absolutely mammoth clash. It is Chelsea against West Ham United, with both teams eager to secure another 3 points today. Bearing in mind we've got that Champions League second leg tie against Fiorentina midweek, I have made several changes, of course, to my starting 11, and of course Diogo Costa does in fact retain his place, now up to 88 rated. What a goalkeeper he is proving to be. Malo Gusto, Disasi, Kanate and Maatsen start at the back, with Baumgartner partnering Conor Gallagher in midfield. Madueke, Xavi Simons, Mudryk all start behind Nicholas Jackson up front. Kanate, nice ball out wide to Ian Maatsen to try and stretch the play here, and he cuts back inside. Lovely pass into Jackson as he managed to find an onside Mudryk. He has. We tried to cut inside. I was convinced he was going to be offside there, and that's why I was a little bit hesitant. But in the end, it was a big opportunity, went missing. And now Madueke, though, has not gone missing, as he's got an opportunity to drive into the box. Tries to shift it onto his left. Good defending from the West Ham centre-back. Conor Gallagher for Chelsea. It's been a fine start here at Stamford Bridge. Lovely cut back into the path of Madueke. Xavi Simons tries to strike. Another big block. Kudos for West Ham. Oh, that is a fabulous ball into the path of Carlos Augustino, and that is now, he has it back again. Has it into the box, tries to strike with his left, and it falls to Jonathan David, and the one man on the pitch that I did not want the ball to fall to for a West Ham player. was the Canadian, and he was on hand just to pass it into an empty net. Well, it was a brilliant ball through, and I thought he'd missed the opportunity to try and strike, and in the end, it came off my centre-back and just fell beautifully into the path of Jonathan David. And when he's got that time and space to just pass it into an empty net, of course he will make no mistake. 1-0 West Ham. Sassy tries to play a ball over the top into the path of Mudryk. It's well intercepted by the West Ham defence. And now they've got their tails up here as Kudos tries to bring the ball forward. Baumgartner, though, chased him down well. And Xavi Simons now has come deep to try and collect the ball. Can he try and spark us into life here? Mudryk gets challenged. And West Ham really are in the ascendancy here. They've got the momentum. And again, it's a wonderful ball. He cut through the lines and it's into Jonathan David, who tries to go back inside. Canate with a brilliant, calm, composed piece of defending to get us out of trouble here. As Xavi Simons now plays it into the path of Mudryk. We've got the opportunity to try and counter-attack here. Mudryk drives into the box. Lovely stuff here. Cuts it back into the path of Nicholas Jackson. What a save. Well, it's end-to-end stuff here at Stamford Bridge. I am trying to catch my breath as Madueke tries to catch that loose ball. Doesn't. And now Xavi Simons will get it back into the path of Mudryk. Fires it back across. It's going to be another Chelsea corner. Madueke into Mudryk. He will try and feed this one across into the path of Nicholas Jackson. What a head. What a goal. Well, he celebrates after getting us back on level terms. And my word, what a fabulous finish. Well, the ball got worked back out into the path of Mudryk, who had the time and space to pick out his man. And that was an absolute bullet header. A towering header from the towering striker. He got up ahead of the West Ham defence. And when he was that close to goal, he wasn't going to miss from there. We're back on level terms. It's 1-1. Jonathan David tries to go past Canate. He's big and strong. Does not let the Canadian go past him. Brilliant defending. And now Matson to try and bring it forward. Oh, how the tables have turned here. Matson just continues his run down the left-hand side. Brilliant stuff from the left-back. Tried to fire it across. It was a big diving header away from the West Ham defence. And now they're onto the cosh. Scally for West Ham being chased down by Mudryk. And Mudryk has done a brilliant job of winning the ball back. And that is a beautiful reverse pass into Xavi. Into Baumgartner now. He shifts it onto his right and strikes from distance. Big save from Areola. Absolutely fantastic stuff on the stroke of half-time. Kudos for West Ham. He's been the danger man so far for the East London club. And he's looking to start off this second half just as he did the first. My word, he's just turned past about 3 of my players. In the end, it was a brilliant challenge. I think it was from Canate, sorry. And now Callum Gallagher will release Malo Gusto down the right side. He tries to cut it back in. I was looking for Nicholas Jackson. Wasn't a good enough ball, but the press, the Chelsea press, is enough to win the ball back high up the pitch. Madueke now feeds it into Baumgartner. He tries to strike with his left. It's deflected, another Chelsea corner, and it's one that Madueke will take on his left foot. I'm going to try and put a little bit more power into this one. It's fired into the penalty area. Baumgartner with a bit of a tame header though, and it's easy in the end for the goalkeeper. Sassy, nice pass into Ian Matson, who's unmarked. He finds Baumgartner, tries to check back, but in the end it's Kudos again with a big challenge. That man has been everywhere for West Ham so far this game, and he's just so dangerous. He's skipping away from multiple challenges and feeding a wonderful ball into Jonathan David, who strikes. Big save. Well, fortunately enough for me, and strangely for West Ham, they've decided to take off their best player, bring in Lucas Paquetá, but much to my relief, that man has gone off the pitch, as is this man. Xavi Simons, after a quiet day at the office, will be replaced by Oyan Sanset, as we try and see if we can spark some life and creativity into this Chelsea team and get the goal that will hopefully give us 3 points. But it's fired into the box. It's a good corner. It's now headed away by Disasi, only out as far as Mavropanis. Lucas Paquetá, the man on as a substitute, just puts it wide. Malo Gusto, lovely pass into the path of Madueke, and he finds Oyan Sanset, who tries to find a pass into Ian Matson, who's done well to get around the back of the defender, but in the end, I think gave away a foul. Malo Gusto wins the ball back high up the pitch. Both teams pressing high here as Mudryk fires a ball all the way out to Ian Matson. He checks in, tries to hit it with his right. It was a poor decision in the end, and West Ham can bring the ball clear. Agostino, nice challenge from Conor Gallagher here into Oyan Sanset, who's dropped deep to try and get involved in the play. Mudryk tries to feed in Nicholas Jackson, good defending again from Scally, and now Jared Bowen can try and bring the ball forward. Jonathan David, lovely pass into Paquetá, the man who's come on for the danger man Kudos, and he's in the box, and he makes no mistake. Well, look at the celebrations, look how delighted he is. Diogo Costa just couldn't get out quick enough. It was another incisive counter-attack and another piece of play from West Ham where they have just cut through my 2 centre-backs. And this time it's Lucas Paquetá with the on-rushing run. And when he's got that much time and space, he was able to pick his spot, just dink it over the goalkeeper and get West Ham back in the lead. It's 2-1. As you can see, 81 minutes played, and we have got less than 10 minutes plus stoppage time to try and get ourselves back on level terms here. But let's just gotta hope that our heads have not dropped. And Conor Gallagher takes it on really nicely, sweeps it out to Malo Gusto, feeds it back across them with the head of Nicholas Jackson. Oh my word, what a head! Has he managed to stay on side? It doesn't look like he has. No, he hasn't. So frustrating. He is absolutely devastated, as are the Chelsea fans. Let's have another look at that. Another brilliant ball over from Malo Gusto. Let's take a look at the line. Oh my word. A matter of centimetres offside. So unlucky for the striker. He can't believe it. It still remains 2-1. Malo Gusto again. Into Nicholas Jackson, who's come deep. Into Madueke. He finds Oyhan Sanson, who tries to strike with his white. Drags it wide. Paqueta. Out to Jarrod Bowen. Paqueta, the goal scorer, now trying to put the final nail in the Chelsea coffin. And somehow he's managed to wriggle away from a couple of challenges. Good header away though by Disasi. Baumgartner wins the reverse ball. And now Madueke can try and bring it clear. No, he can't as the referee blows for full time. Well, much to my dismay, but much to David Moyes' delight, West Ham have taken 3 points here at Stamford Bridge, and they have put a massive dent in our Premier League title campaign this season, and look how delighted they are about it. Full time here at Stamford Bridge, it finishes Chelsea 1, West Ham 2. And as you can see from the despondent look on my face, it's a really tough one to take. To be honest, I thought we looked dangerous for most of the game. Some of our attacking play was excellent, and I think we deserved at least a draw. Sometimes though, these things just don't go the way you want them to. With us really missing a brilliant opportunity to at least equalise against West Ham, it certainly has put a dent in our title fight. We now have 2 games ahead of Manchester United, but only a 3-point gap, and if they of course win, they will return to the top of the table. However, after securing a comeback of our own in the Champions League first leg against Fiorentina, our opportunity to seal our place in the knockout rounds in the next round of the Champions League proper. It's going to be a huge tie, but in front of our home fans, I am supremely confident we can get the job done today. 1-1 here on aggregate. All we need is one goal that will seal victory and seal our place in the next round. And of course, the biggest game of the season demands the biggest players on the pitch, and that is why I have returned to my usual starting 11. Costa in goal, Reece James, Tomori is partnered by Fofana, who returns to the starting 11 to partner him, and now Ben Chilwell also starts at left back. Caicedo and Fernandes start in midfield. Diaby, Sancet and Sancho start behind Christopher Nkunku up front. Enzo Fernandez into Moussa Diaby, who's been really quiet so far in this episode, but he's going to look to try and see if he can do some damage here today. And look at this for a run from the Frenchman. He strikes on his left, he's got it again on his right, and again it's blocked. What a start from the young man. And Zola for Fiorentina. Oh, wonderful stuff from Fofana, who will be absolutely delighted to find himself back in the starting 11 for such an important game. One man, though, who hasn't impressed me so far this episode too is Jadon Sancho, who ended up losing the ball, but just as I said, he's going to win it back. And then he's gone and lost it again. Oh my word. Tumultuous times for the Englishman. And now Zola has it on the left-hand side. Tries to cut it back in. This time it's Tomori with a big challenge. We are living life on the edge here. Both teams stuttering. A nervy start for such a big game. Arak will take this free kick here for Fiorentina in a dangerous position. Floated into the box. Headed away by Sancho. Only out as far as Milenkovic. Into Alex Garcia. He's being held up here by Fofana. Diogo Costa makes a bit of a meal of that save. But we certainly are living life on the edge here in the opening 26 minutes. Reece James unmarked on the right hand side to try and bring this one out of defence. Finds a wonderful pass into Christopher Nkunku. He's going to try and release Diaby. Has Diaby managed to stay on side? Yes, he has. And what a calm, composed finish. Well, I said at the start of this game that the Frenchman's been quiet, but my word, what a start to the game he's having. Of all the finishes that he could have applied, I was not expecting him to do that one. Look at that, he practically passed the ball into the back of the net. The keeper wasn't expecting it either. Neither were the Chelsea or Fiorentina fans, but they won't care. It is now 1-0 Chelsea here, 2-1 on aggregate, much to his delight. Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez will turn and finds Reece James again into Diaby. The goal scorer now full of confidence, tries to take it onto his left. Continues to run in, trying to find an opportunity to strike, and what a strike it was. And he forced the goalkeeper into a really top stop. Dallo for Fiorentina, into Garcia. Barak now has it unmarked in the centre of the park here. Enzo Fernandez with a brilliant challenge. And Oyhan Sanson now can release Jadon Sancho. And Sancho now has a wonderful opportunity to try and put it in the box. I was looking for a ball to Christopher Nkunku, but it was a wonderful piece of defending on the stroke of half-time. Going to be a free kick here at the very start of the second half to Fiorentina. It's going to be Garcia to throw it into the box. It's a decent ball, It wasn't really attacked by any of the Fiorentina players, and now Christopher Nkunku can pick up the loose ball, and he dinks it over the top into the path of Boyan Sanse. Can he get there ahead of the defenders? No, he can't. Dalot being hunted down by Jadon Sancho. Manages to wriggle away from him, though. Good play from the Portuguese man. Saul, though, is also being tracked heavily by Christopher Nkunku as we frantically try and see if we can win the ball back high and try and see if we can cement our place in the next round and get another goal to put this tie to bed as Christopher Nkunku wins the ball back again into Reece James. He's going to try and play it into the path of Moussa Diaby, who's just straight offside. Amrabat skipped away from the challenge really nicely. Plays a ball into Gorko, and he now tries to get away from Tamori. Doesn't manage to, though. Brilliant defending once again from the Englishman. Ben Chilwell fires a wicked ball all the way out wide to Reece James on the right-hand side, and he skips away from a challenge, and he finds Christopher Nkunku, who bursts into the box here, and Christopher Nkunku to strike. Another huge save. Diaby will take the resulting corner. I'm going to try and fire it into the penalty spot. Fofana wins the head. Another huge save. Well, I don't know what it is about the goalkeepers on this episode, but they are having an absolutely stellar time here in front of my attackers. We just can't seem to break them down. But in the end, it's cleared away that Mudryk will manage to get on the loose ball on as a substitute. He finds Fofana. Fofana's going to try and lift it over to Ben Chilwell on the left-hand side. He's going to try and cut it back into Enzo Fernandez. He finds Nicholas Jackson on as a sub. Oh, he's put it wide into the path of Ben Chilwell on the left-hand side. Cuts back inside for Moises Caicedo. Tried to feed a ball back out wide to him. Doesn't manage to. Now Saul on the break here for Fiorentina. Just over 10 minutes remaining on the clock here for them to try and see if they can get back into this game. Emil Smith-Rowe faffing around with the ball. Tries to bring it out wide. In the end, cuts back inside. Saul picks it up again. Dangerous stuff. He lined up for the power shot, and Fofana came across. Brilliant piece of defending from the Frenchman. And now we can try and hit them on the counter-attack. Ben Chilwell down the left-hand side. He has been non-stop running down that flank. But in the end, perhaps the fatigue crept up on him as he gave the ball away, but Caicedo wins it back into Nicholas Jackson. Again, he's being flanked by Ben Chilwell, but cuts back inside for Caicedo again. He finds Diaby, who's come deep to try and collect the ball. I'm going to try and feed this one out to Malo Gusto on the right side. He's going to whip it in, looking for the head of Nicholas Jackson, who's full of confidence after his headed goal against, in our previous Premier League game, against West Ham. But in the end, Gusto will pick up the ball again on the right-hand side. And again, I'm going to try and throw this one right the way across. And it's easy for the goalkeeper, but the referee blows for full time. The Chelsea fans go crazy. I shake the hand of the Fiorentina manager. It was a hard-fought 2 legs in the Champions League round of 16, but I salute the support from the Chelsea fans. That man's goal was the difference maker here today. He's been quiet all episode, but stepped up when I needed him to. As at full time it finishes Chelsea 1, Fiorentina 0. And that result means we will be sailing through after a 2-1 aggregate win. And sailing through to play another Italian team who managed to knock out our English rivals Liverpool 3-1 on aggregate, as we have been drawn against Napoli in the quarter-finals of the Champions League. But of course, we're still in the latter rounds of the FA Cup, and despite a little bit of drop-off in momentum, we are still in the fight for the Premier League title as well. And so that is it for today's episode. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you again next time.